for joining me yet again on a day when I get to talk to some people who inspire me so that I can unlearn and relearn in my leadership journey. And today I have a beautiful woman from the global north who goes by the name of Sharmin. Um, and Sharmin is the founder, Sharmin Prince is the founder and executive director of Eagles Empowered to Soar, Inc. And that's a registered nonprofit in US and Guyana, which has a mission to empower survivors of gender based violence to heal through trauma informed support, advocacy, and community education. On top of that, she's also a self employed certified life coach, trauma professional, and gender change maker and TRE provider. She has over 20 years of experience in New York City nonprofit sector and has trained more than 2,000 case managers, front desk managers, supervisors. So I brought someone who's got loads and loads of wisdom and experience to the table today. I'm so excited to have you. And today I'd really just like to dig deep on her wisdom on equity, intersectionality, and leadership in general. So before digging deep, Charmaine, welcome. In Tanzania, we say karibu. Is there anything that maybe I have missed in the brief introduction that I gave that you'd like to share with
No, no, thank you for having me. I think you've covered everything. So thank you.
Great. So maybe just to get the ball rolling, what drove you to the line of work that you're in right now? Why? Why would you want to one register an organization in both the U.S. and Guyana? Why would you want to um, help women through the traumatic spaces and healing? What drove you to that?
So, firstly, I am from Guyana. I'm
Mm,
Guyanese. And growing up, I saw my mother as a part of, there was this organization. It was a political arm of one of the, it was an arm of one of the political parties in Guyana. And it was
mm,
the Women's Revolutionary Socialist Movement. And I think that's the genesis of my service to the community and humanity.
mm,
And there were times that I will wake up in the mornings and my mom or stepdad, there would be a stranger in our house that they took in the night before. And additionally, my mother worked at the public hospital. And
mm,
as a clerk, she always helps people. So I think that's where my desire to serve
mm,
began.
mhm,
And then I did social work at the University of Guyana, and my mentor and professor exposed me to research. Now, even though I was a citizen of Guyana, thought I knew Guyana, I was engaged in a research called the Invisible Visibles, where I interviewed street homeless persons in Guyana that despite you're passing them daily and you never noticed that there was problem, a social problem of street homelessness. And then I participated in a research with street homeless children.
mhm,
Catherine,
mm,
that was, I guess, where my desire to serve was solidified
nice.
because of the trust those street children had of me. When they showed me where they live, I had to climb up via rope. I was younger and more flexible, so I could have done that. And they knew where I came off the bus when I
Mm,
left the university because I was a student. And one night they waited for me to confront a predator.
well,
And because they had that kind of trust in me, they give me the boldness and the courage to do so. So when I came to the US, it was a no brainer to get into the social service field.
Mm.
And that's what I did. I served veterans, I served formerly homeless adults, I worked in domestic violence shelter, and then in 2019, after I worked with the veterans and the contract was not renewed,
Mm.
um, my CEO, they met with me and they told me that I'll have to go run the veterans single room occupancy, a program where I mentored at least four program directors who failed.
Mm.
So I saw this as a setup for failure after such great
Yep.
success with the two veterans programs I was managing,
Mm.
the Battle Buddy Bridge, and we were conducting a research using moral injury as an intervention to help combat veterans overcome PTSD.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I took it on myself and I said, no, this is not what I want to do. And I resigned.
Mm.
And I had already um, incorporated my nonprofit. So I said, okay, this is
That's
what I'm
good.
going to do. And that's what I've been doing. I've been navigating the space. And I can't say that I have mastered it because the mindset shift that is
Mm.
important to be an entrepreneur and manage your own nonprofit is difficult after spending 20 years under an umbrella that everything was done for you and all you did was what you were told.
Mm.
Right? So I know that was a long answer, but
It was
I
a beautiful answer. I think it was an answer that everyone needed to hear. And personally, when you were speaking, I found myself smiling because I'm just some of the things that you're speaking, I really resonate with. Particularly when you said that you were called for service. I personally believe that that is my calling, even though my initial degree is in law. But when I started off, I was like, it wasn't sitting well with my soul and my spirit until I started working in the nonprofit space. And I was like, this is my calling. This is how I can provide service to my community. And the way that you're beautifully able to link service and trust. The stakeholders that we engage with, be it children, being veterans, without that core element of trust, that is the key to being able to properly serve them and help them where needed. But the place that really just shouted at me was when you mentioned that when you're in Guyana, you worked with children who lived on the streets. I also worked with children who lived on the streets, children and youth who lived in this worked in the streets in Tanzania. And two things that spoke to me is one, there is a misconception, for lack of better terms, that children living or working on the streets are only found in the global south. So I think from you mentioning it, it's obviously that it's not just a global south issue, it's an issue that affects both parts, both developing parts of the country and developing parts of the world, and also developed parts of the world as well. So both parts need to be addressed. But from working with children and youth living and working in the streets, one thing that really I was really able to note is one, they're very bold, they're courageous, they know what they want, which I think is a mindset change from a leadership perspective, where it's easy to feel that we have the solutions for them. And two is that the children who are on the streets, they when once they trust you, you need to be able to hold and know how to cultivate that trust into finding solutions and not misuse it or break it, because once you break that trust, it's like a fire that will spread. They will make sure that every child on the streets knows that this lady is not to be trusted. You need to find someone else. So I think that's something that um, I really appreciate from you, from your experience. And bouncing off that, what would be your take, or over the years that you've been working in the nonprofit space, what has been your view as to how equity has been in the nonprofit space? Have you seen it grow? Have you seen it take a step back?
am pausing for a reason
Yes.
because in the nonprofit state
Yeah.
space in the US, when I started,
Mm.
it was female dominated.
Interesting.
Yes. CEOs female,
Right.
supervisors female. So in that space, you saw the power and the leadership of the woman.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And I guess maybe 5 years in,
Mm-hmm.
our we had a CEO that was male when I
Mm-hmm.
started, and when he left, a female came in. And leadership under a male and a female differs,
Massively.
because the left brain, right brain,
Yeah.
it's actually real, and men are from Mars and women are from
Of the Venus.
Venus.
Yep.
So you saw the difference in the leadership.
Mm.
Um, so equity for me, I, as a black woman living in the
Mm-hmm.
US,
Yeah.
as a black Guyanese woman living in the US,
Mm-hmm.
as a black woman who has a difference because I grew up with a lot of trauma. So
Yeah.
I had PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
and navigating a white environment
Mm.
with those things, and starting as a case manager
Yeah.
and moving up
Mm-hmm.
the ladder. I did not know of racism coming
Nice.
from Guyana.
Mm-hmm.
So that was not something that I noticed, I think, until I started associating with African Americans
Mm-hmm.
and paying attention from what they're saying.
Yeah.
But what I experienced was not racism, it was colorism.
Mm.
And there's a difference.
Yes.
And because I in Guyana, I came from a single parent home, and I came
Mm.
into a nonprofit environment where
Yeah.
women were always leaders. Gender equity was not something that I experienced.
Mm.
It,
I love how you've been able to explain that, because if I think you can only really speak of it or see it if you are in a situation where they're both male and female, then it's easy to see how hard the woman has to work to rise to the top, or how she has to humble herself in
yeah.
certain situations to make sure that the equilibrium is still there in terms of male and female leadership. So that's really, that's a perspective that I never looked into.
Mm,
Hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it would be hypocritical for me to say
Yeah.
that I have experience in that state. I've had a male supervisor, and I
Mm-hmm.
can say to you, Catherine, his name was Brian Bardell. He was my best supervisor, and he
Mm.
was a white male.
Mm.
I had another supervisor, Ed, who steered me away from social work, because when we took over a program, and it was a very bad and hard program
Mm.
takeover, he saw my administrative skills, and he looked at me and he's like, "Why are you going to do social work? And you have all these leadership and administrative
Mm.
skills." And I was
Mm.
like, "Okay, but I always wanted to be a social worker." And I diverted. And,
Mm.
even now I have regrets, but I
Yeah.
diverted and went into leadership. Um, so I've had two great white male supervisors who allowed me to grow, who allowed
Mm,
me to blossom, who saw my gifting and supported it. So um that's all I can say. I never felt suppressed by either of them.
mm,
I never felt that I had to be limited. Yes, I have to follow the funders and the
yes.
agency's policies, procedures, and guidelines, but yet they give me free reign to grow as an individual,
Mm,
to grow as a leader, to develop.
yes.
And I owe some of who I am now to both of them.
I understand that oat so well, and I think that's one of the things that are really important to me is the importance of mentorship. Because one thing I acknowledge, I am where I am because of the mentors that I have. I am where I am because of, just like you, the way that your former bosses saw something in you and pushed you away from what you wanted to what your skill set was at. It was literally the same thing with me. I was in my comfort zone, but my mentors, and some of them have turned into one of my closest friends, are like, there's way much more in you. Why are you just doing the bare minimum? Step outside your comfort zone, do something else. This is where we can see you grow. And I literally have just seen the growth within me because someone pushed it out. They forced me out of my comfort zone. So seeing that with your experience as well, how would you be able to talk on the importance of mentorship and leadership?
Let me say this
Mm,
to anyone that is listening: if you don't have a mentor,
yeah.
you don't have a coach, you don't have someone who is guiding you,
Mm,
the place that you're supposed to be in 6 months, you will get there in 3 years.
pause. That's
So
true.
find yourself a coach, find yourself a mentor, find yourself a guide,
Mm,
because it is important. You may think that you're skillful, you're
mm,
brilliant, you're intelligent. Yes, that's great. And you're all of that. But there are things that you cannot see within yourself. It takes someone outside of you
mhm,
to identify it,
yeah.
and they may have the skills to help you to develop and to hone in those
Mm,
giftings.
yeah.
So it's important. I For me, I mentor persons, I coach,
Mm,
I even volunteer at Braven annually to coach and mentor college students,
mm,
because I understand the importance.
yes.
And when I went to the University of Guyana, I was in my 30s, or I would say late 20s,
Yeah.
and I never knew about coach and guide.
Yeah.
And one of my professors, Stella Odiali, chose me and began to mentor me and threw
Mm,
me into research. Thus, I was able to participate in those research that I mentioned in my introduction. And she continued to be a guiding light in my life even today. And she is in
mm,
her 90s. When I went to my master's program in leadership, another professor saw my gifting and took me as a mentee, who is still present in my life today.
mm.
So I believe in that. Going to, I'm going to tell you a quick story.
Please do. Please do.
When I went to VOA, the organization where I spent 18 years,
Yes.
9 months in as a case manager, um, a middle manager, my before I go there, my immediate supervisor was complaining, and I had just came out of the U.S. Army. I spent the
Mm,
year there, and after complaining, I give her the book "Who Moved My Cheese," because a psychologist in
mm,
the army told me to read that book.
Mm-hmm.
So I give her my copy to read.
Yeah.
Maybe a month later, she resigned.
Okay.
And this this middle manager walked up to me. First time we were having a conversation.
Mm.
She said, "Are you going to apply for that supervisor position?" I looked at her. I said, "I'm now completing my bachelor's because I came to the US with an incomplete bachelor's."
Mm.
And she said, "You should apply." And I did
Mm-hmm.
boldly, not knowing, because
Yeah.
I this is my first time working in the homeless setting,
Mm.
and I got the position.
Mm.
I always make fun of giving my supervisor the book "Who Moved My Cheese" in order to get her
Good
position.
job.
But even though that middle manager was not my mentor, she was my
Mm.
guide for that moment,
Yes.
because she saw something in me in 9 months and say she can be a good supervisor. So there
Mm.
I was. And then my supervisor, the white male Ed, he became my supervisor as the supervisor of case management. He was the
Mm.
associate program director. And I
Mm.
remember when he asked me during the interview, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" And I
Yeah.
said, "Your position."
Ooh.
I sure did.
Love the confidence. Speaking to the universe. Yes.
And listen to this. When the agency acquired a new program that was really, really difficult, it was a
Mm.
different space that we were in. He came into my office one day and he said, "We're getting a new program. I want us to go together. You can be the program director, and I am going to be the APD." And I said, "They wouldn't allow that. Kara would never allow that."
Yeah.
And he said, "We'll see." And they didn't allow it. But he was the program director on paper,
Mm.
and I was the APD. And we went together.
Mm.
But the position was over his head. I tried, but it was such a difficult takeover.
Mm.
Um, so I have always had mentors and guides throughout my career
Mm.
that boosted and supported my skills,
Mm.
um, even my confidence in what I'm doing.
Yes.
And so it's only right for me to pay it forward.
Mm.
And throughout my career, I've coached so many people.
Mm.
To date, even though I left that agency 5 years or 6 years ago, there are a few staff that are there that would see someone struggling and say, "Why don't you contact Miss Prince?"
She can help.
And there.
Mm. Love it, love it, love it. Just out of curiosity, because I know this is a question that I get asked a lot. What would you explain, like the difference between like a mentor, a coach, and a guide? How would you explain the difference?
So a mentor is someone who would mentor you in a specific, if it's academics,
Mm.
it's very specific and streamlined,
Mm-hmm.
and it's for a short period
Mm-hmm.
in some cases.
Yeah.
A coach will will use what you have, help you to develop it,
Mm.
and coach you to your next level.
Oh, okay.
A guide is short term. They're just guiding you through a period or for
Mm-hmm.
a or something specific. So the the coach is a long term. A mentor can be long term depending on the area of mentorship,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and a guide is short term.
Shorter.
If a guide has the skills to be a mentor, a guide can leave the space of being a guide and become a mentor to you.
Mm. Mm.
A mentor, I'm not sure if a mentor can become a coach. I've never
I
thought
think
of it.
a mentor is the peak, and
Yeah.
you can be upgraded from a guide to a mentor. But I don't think like once you're a mentor, that is the highest. I think at the highest level. One thing that I loved hearing, which is the way you're talking. Like there's so many things that you're mentioning. I'm like I never looked at it that way, but then assessing in my own situation, it makes so much sense. Because all of the mentors that I have, I never approached anyone to be like, "Can you be my mentor?" All the mentors that I have literally picked me and was like, Catherine, I see something in you. I am going to be your mentor. It wasn't even a thought of like, think about it. It was like, this is what's going to happen. We're going to set aside some time. It's like once a week or bi-weekly, we meet, we talk, and we're going to guide you or mentor you through certain situations to help you get to where we see you can be. And I think what I've noticed, I've had people approach me and ask me to be their mentors, and I've always found myself with the question like, what do you want me to mentor you in? It cannot just be as easy, I'm applying to be your mentee. Whereas, and that's where I feel I've found difficulty because I've never applied to be anyone's mentee. It was someone always sees something in me. And I loved hearing that from you as well, that all your mentors saw something in you and mentored you. They're like, this is, we see something, we see the growth potential in Miss Prince and Sharmin, and let us see what we can use our expertise to do it. And what I'm taking home from this conversation, which I need to admit I need to do better in, because I'm not only making sure there are more seats for people like me at the table that I have, but to make sure I also identify women or young women of color who I see potential in and be like, okay, now I'm going to be your mentor. I'm going to make sure that you get to the next step to extend the same grace that was offered to me several years back and even today. So thank you for reminding me of that.
You're welcome. And I just wanted to add something because a thought
Yes,
came to me.
yes,
Um, a mentor is someone, and you mentioned that someone that did, a mentor chooses you,
yep, hmm,
right?
yeah,
But you choose your coach, and you hire your coach
mm,
because you have a need that the coach can help you to meet and
mm.
to fulfill. Um, and your guide finds you.
Ooh. You're just dropping gems, gems. There's gems after gem after gem. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Just a few more questions. Just hang in there. With your experience and over the years working in the nonprofit, has there ever been a time that you've disrupted or challenged a system? And if so, what helped you stay grounded?
Whew. Um, I think as a associate program director and the program director in the SRO, which is a single room occupancy,
Yes.
the system is the formerly homeless enter the facility and they become a tenant, and you will have all these programs on paper
Hmm.
to help them to or to prepare them for independent housing.
Yeah.
And systematically, that's their end. That's the independent housing for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I got there, in my head,
Mm-hmm.
Follow me.
Yes.
I'm like, here I am, a part of a system. We had 175 rooms
Mm.
in the facility. I
Mm.
am going to become a change maker
Mm.
because 95% of the occupants looked like me.
Oh.
And the people above me did not look like me. So,
Mm.
in my mind, they didn't care about those people. And when I suggested stuff, it was received with a lot of resistance. So, I began to devise ways
Mm.
of implementing it in such a way that it does not come with resistance, like
Mm.
bringing in community members to do what we are not providing, to provide what we're not providing,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
um, helping the tenants, doing things that would help the tenants feel at home in this facility.
Yeah.
It may not be the things, it may not be the answer to your question about disruption,
Mm-hmm.
but I saw tenants who were
Mm.
appreciative that on Thanksgiving, you have a Thanksgiving dinner like if you're at home, and the
Yes.
staff are serving you. Christmas, you have a Christmas dinner like you're at home,
Mm.
and the staff are
Yes.
serving you. During the year, you have events that makes you feel not like a formerly homeless person, but
Mm-hmm.
like a human being
Yes. Yes. The
who,
humanity aspect.
exactly, a human being who has encountered a glitch in your path and is now in this homeless facility. But there are times this, I feel like a human being.
Mm.
I don't feel like a homeless person.
I don't feel inhumane.
Exactly.
Mm. And I think it also humbles everyone to understand that today I'm serving them, but tomorrow someone else can be serving me.
And the thing about it, now I'm talking to you, I would get all the staff,
Mm.
all the case managers, even the managers. I remember that I had a manager whose wife sent me a note
Yeah.
thanking me for the work that I've done with her husband in the
Yeah.
professional environment that
Yeah.
translated into a better home environment for them.
Mm.
So it may not have disrupted a system, but it disrupted the way the staff viewed and
Yeah.
treated
Mm-hmm.
the clients slash tenants.
Mm-hmm.
That today, even though I'm not there, those things still continue.
Okay. That's the system itself. That's the system itself. That's the system itself. That's the system itself. Love it. Love it. Love it. Last thing I'd love to touch base on, with all your expertise, what advice would you give this current generation about protecting their voice and power? Because that's something after the discussion that we've had, I can really sense that you've been able to protect and safeguard your voice and the power that is within you. What piece of advice would you give to my generation and the Gen Z and the Gen Alphas, which are coming? Exactly how can we protect our voice and our power?
First thing, manage the influence of social media.
Mm.
Because with the influence of social media,
Yeah.
I find a lot of younger people are losing their authenticity and who they are. They are not allowing themselves
Mm.
time, presence to find, discover, and understand who they are on the inside because of the influx of influence, the
Mm.
external influence. So I would encourage you to sit with yourself. I've developed a self-discovery program, and
Nice.
everyone that was in that program
Mm.
were Gen Zs,
Mm.
millennials. And I did that because I found that a lot of people are losing their identity, losing who they are,
Mm.
losing your values. So, first thing, number one, what are your values? What are your standards? What are
Mm.
your principles? What makes up your belief system? And when you examine that belief system, is it yours, your mother, or your grandmother's?
Mm.
Do you still believe those things? And if not, revise them to who you are right now or who you think you are.
Mm.
Can you identify the masks that you wear? And
Ooh.
why are you wearing them? And when were they developed? Because so many of us are hidden behind the mask of our life experiences. So
Yeah.
no one see who we really are because
Mm.
we are covered in so many masks. And no one has taught us that the masks are surviving mechanism or tools of survival. However, after the situation, we are supposed to take off the mask because we're out of the storm. We're out of the challenge.
Mm.
But no one taught us that. So when another challenge comes and we create a mask to survive, we put it on top of those that we are wearing. So we are
Mm.
so masked up.
Mm.
Begin to remove the mask. And oftentimes we
Mm.
can't do it alone. Find someone who has
Mm.
walked the walk, because one of my favorite principles, I cannot lead you where I have not walked.
Ooh, yes. That's so
Because
good.
I walk the path. When we get to, I can say to you, a mile away, there is a ditch. And the only way for us to get across that
Mm.
ditch is to go in, slide down, and climb the other side.
Mm.
So I know I said a lot of what you should do, but sit, journal, and write your values. What do you believe
Mm.
in? What are your principles? What are your belief system? And examine them and find someone to help you to know who you are and embrace your authenticity.
Whew, I'm going to sleep very well tonight. I'm going to have a lot to think about. I'm going to be doing a whole lot more of journaling. Last thing that I'd like to pick your brain on. Right now, with everything going on in the US, the way your politics is just beautiful. And also with our neighbors in Kenya right now, politics is just Gen Z are getting very active, and even in my home country right now in Tanzania, we're in election season is coming up in the next few months. So, given the political environment right now, generally globally, what keeps you hopeful?
I believe in God,
Amen. Same.
and not the religious God that is presented or the commercialized
Mm,
God,
mm,
a God who I know, a God who I have a personal relationship with. One. So, God first.
mm,
Second, I take time with me.
Mm,
I try to be present. I learn to be present
mm.
because the past takes away your today. And
Ooh.
I have allowed a lot of my todays to be taken away. So I am present and I don't worry about tomorrow because I know who takes care of tomorrow. So I live in this moment because this
Mm,
is what I have and this is what I'm sure of. And
mm,
I am going to make the best of it in spite of what is happening around me.
mm.
And every day, find 3 to 5 things that you are grateful for
Ooh.
to remain centered and
Mm,
grounded
mm,
so that you don't sway with every political, systemic,
mm,
social, economic system that affects you.
mm. Past takes away your today.
Yes.
Love it. You have, as I said, you've given me a lot to think about. I consider myself very blessed right now, and very grateful for having this space with you, for being able to dig deep with you, talk with you, get a bit of your wisdom. So thank you so much for your time and wanting to even talk with me. I know you haven't done an interview in a minute, so I feel very, very, very privileged that you wanted to, you're willing to share your story with little old me, all the way in Tanzania. It really means a
Oh,
great.
before you continue, don't you ever say that again because you're not little and you're not old. I know it's a statement, but I believe in the
Mm,
power of words.
amen. Yeah.
You're not little because if you were little, you would not have had me here with you. And you have too much to offer to say you're little.
Thank
Okay.
you. Well noted. Well, yeah. God knew this was meant to happen. The universe knew this was meant to happen. I'm just very grateful. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. We will be tagging your page on my LinkedIn for people to follow. I hope you guys have enjoyed the gems of wisdom from Sherman, just as I have. And just stay tuned for more very interesting and talkative vibes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.